Welcome to a once in a lifetime video that you're going to want to keep for a long time. This is a world first science lesson in why and how the earth is flat. Okay? Now it's all about this final experiment, LOL, which is basically going to prove to you flat earthers, if you listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, what I'm about to show you, okay? To prove Earth is flat and expose the lie. Okay? So there's a couple of well-known flat earthers heading towards Antarctica to be made fools of by the globe lovers, because the flat earthers don't believe there's a 24-hour sun at a particular time of the year in December swinging around you over Antarctica. Now it does, and I've proven I don't know the flat earth model. I know the whole flat earth model. There's no way they're going to pay me to go down there and prove my point. So you people going down there are going to have to show everybody in the flat earth community how things work. Prove it. Okay? I've got all the theory here. You can film it, do whatever you want, but you're going to have to explain all this to your followers, okay? This is the flat earth design looking down on it. If you could look down on it, because we can't get up high enough to do it, and the eye only sees so far anyway. Man's arc of horizon, it's only out to his horizon. It does expand and contract depending on your elevation and that, and the lighting. But you can only get so high, get above the light spectrum and see darkness above you. Once you get above the sun line, the moon line, we've seen videos of that. There's no stars up there, is there? No, they're all down in the light spectrum. Can't see colour above the light spectrum. So that's probably 100 to 150 feet, 1,000 feet. Okay, so there's a flat earth system here, a centralised northern hemisphere, because everything expands outwards. It's a toroidal field. All the energy expands outward. Everything that moves south or is south is larger than what's further north. It's a known fact. It's been known for years, just hidden from you. So this is how the sun works. It's mirrored to the south. It comes around, like, let me read all this. Make sure you change. Okay, we're talking about the compass here when you're flying south. Take a compass with you. I've got another page here. I think I moved from there to here, but I'll start here. Make sure you change to a southern hemisphere compass to realise which way is south. Okay? Because the northern compass flips. We'll get into that in a minute. Make sure you change to a southern hemisphere compass to realise which way is south. But your northern compass shows you the mirrored motion of the sun as it comes directly out of the south. It will be coming out of the north. Okay, so down here when you're in Antarctica, you see that the sun will come right around you like this over 24 hours. So at this point here is right up there. It's the middle of the night for these guys in the north. Okay, but when it comes around, they see it at 9 o'clock in the morning, say. It'll be here at 9 o'clock in the morning in the south. They swing around like this. It's 9 a.m. and then you'll be having the sun up here in the middle of the day, 12 o'clock, and back around here, okay? So know what you're doing with both compasses, okay? A southern hemisphere compass has the southern hemisphere compass, because there's two compasses, one for the north, one for the south. Hemisphere compass has the north arrow on the other end of the needle. Okay? So it always points to Arctic north. Otherwise, a northern hemisphere compass would point south in the southern hemisphere, not north. Because Earth's circumference is a north pole. Also, it has to be for the two south poles to oppose each other at the tropics. These are two south poles. This is in capacitance. We understand all this in physics. We understand you need the right gap for the right amount of strength for the plates and all that, the size of the plates and all that. To oppose each other at the tropics, to create magnetic induction from the dielectric where the sun is supposedly created. But you have to realize this is the physical realm, perception, as we understand things in known physics, because we're in the physical world. So it adds up thinking it's there. But the secret lies in the dual system that feeds back into the center, singularity, similar to what science is trying to create with nuclear fusion. But Earth runs on cold fusion. Okay? So look at this here. This is the sun in December. But it contracts. It gets pushed back up and in. See, these lines will draw it back up and in. These points are representing the sun moving back north as you get the overlay like I've shown you before. We get the southern hemisphere overlaying coming back in like this. Okay? Some of you might click on, see these locations here? It's all on my Patreon if you want to understand more about that. It contracts. It gets squeezed up, like pushing the air of a balloon, squashed up. So you start getting this an oval shape. Okay? I draw a cardioid, a loop. We don't see the loop, but you've got to imagine that's the way the sun would go if it's turning and then completely disappearing behind you, opposite you, getting weaker and weaker, then going into night, then sort of coming back out again. That's that sort of loop idea I keep drawing of the cardioid. It does actually happen that way. As the season changes, the southern field moves back in. The north field retracts up as south moves in. There we have the model here. Up and in, down and out. Remember, the sun follows the magnetic field of the earth and it winds up and winds down. You can go back to the center of creation, my S curve. There's a multitude of cycles. You've got the monthly cycle, you've got the yearly cycle. That's going a bit deep, so we don't have to go there right now. So, as the northern flat earthers fly south, keep an eye on your compass and watch it flip once you fly into the southern hemisphere, probably close somewhere in the tropics. But keep an eye all the time, watch it flip. You're probably going to be sleeping at about this time anyway. It's a bit of a shame. So you're going to wake up and the thing's already flipped, and then you're lost. So someone needs to stay awake and watch the compass flip, proving both ends of the earth are the same. And if you go there, you will surely die. Who said that? This is 100% proof we can use in a court of law if law didn't involve lying Freemasons. That pole is that pole. That pole is that pole. More widely dispersed, the weak force, the strong force. Okay? Now, go check out that video. It's a couple of days, 4 or 5 days old. The final experiment. Dave McKeegan. Another deluded mortal who thinks he knows something because he got himself all indoctrinated. There's proof right here, everybody. The mirrored effect. The North Pole, the North Pole. The two souths are in here. Their compasses, they tell you online that they dip here and dip here, but in actual fact the magnetic field is rising here, rising here, dipping there and dipping there. They tell you the magnetic field is weakest at the equator. Well, that's right, because there's no actual magnetic field in the tropics. It's only built up here and built up here, as in capacitance. Okay, it all makes sense if you know your physics and you have a mind to learn. So over the whole earthly system you have a sun and a lemon like this, but we're going to get into the separated system because everything breaks down like a magnet. There's the cardioid, that loop I'm telling you about, These are all the magnetic field cycles that happen all the way around the earth. Every man gets one of these on his arc of horizon, on his meridian. He'll see his own pattern. This guy's facing this way, he sees his own pattern as well. Man, it's all connected to his eyeballs and his brain, because his brain, the two hemispheres of his brain, is connected to the two hemispheres of this earth. I'm going to show you a picture in a minute, like right now. This is what religion is all about. It's connecting, you spiritually, or deeper, giving you a deeper thinking, trying to get you out of the physical world into the secrets of our realm. Earth is a dual system, a split cell, or like the human brain of two halves. Centre north, centre north, centre north. The tropical gaps, or the tropical gap that goes all the way around, the tropical gap. There's a slice, okay, a slice through it. This is just southern hemisphere. That's the south poles there. Okay, there's a north pole there in the middle, and the north pole out in the perimeter, circumference. There's a pairing going on here. That's going a bit deep. You might have to. Some of my older videos might confuse you because there's still two south poles here. Some of the videos I've been putting north and the south to show you the male and female and the marrying. But you have to realise they're both south poles. There's just always a weak force and a strong force. So you consider that the male and the female. But this part here represents the hydrogen molecule or water molecule rising up to the tropics, which is the male. The male slipping into the female, because this is magnetic. That's the magnetic cycle. The magnetic cycle comes up over here, down here, along the ground there, showing up and over and down here, and along the ground then back up here, up towards the sun. Not all the magnetic field goes to the sun. It passes by and comes down, recycles again. Start the journey again. So it's magnetism both sides here, but the two together and through capacitance creates the magnetic induction, the male. The two form the male entity. This is where the male comes from, the male end of the Milky Way, but only up here is the magnetism, which is the female end of the Milky Way. So the female meets the sun, the male meets the sun becomes a hermaphrodite, male and female. Okay? That's the 2D plane where the sun is created, the pure plasma sun. But then once it's illuminated, boom, you get this 3D depth below it. Then the moon is separated. The moon turns up over here as full moon. It becomes, the moon is separated, the female has come away from the male. You know, the full moon goes to new moon into the sun, comes away at full moon. It does this S-curve, showing you the separation, the dual entity of our life here on earth, female, male. Together they get it on, create a solar eclipse. Together on earth we get it on, create babies. Well, when these get it on, that's the whole religious story. When the child is born, following the solar eclipse, that's the only time they can actually create spiritual children. It's through the solar eclipse. That's when the spiritual sperm, that's all in religion, okay? So here we go guys. The two sun inner lemmas, okay? There's two sun inner lemmas, one in the northern hemisphere, one in the southern hemisphere. One that comes up to the tropic of, I haven't drawn the tropics in here. One comes up to the tropics with the feet here, and the other one comes from the north with the feet on this side. The two feet are opposing each other. How can that be on a globe? Science knows the dual system, otherwise how would they understand the two opposing sun inner lemmas? This is a fact. Why would you have to look south from the northern hemisphere, but then have to turn north to look from the southern hemisphere, but see it the opposite way around? This is hidden from you. The globies do not want to mention this, but the two images prove the two north poles I've explained in the earlier video. It shows the two opposing north poles. Look, opposite. The sun loops out of the north and the other end. The other north. The two north poles. Arctic, Antarctic. But this is in many places, all the way around. Because it's all mirrored from the centre. The one and only real sun that we do not see is mirrored out here wherever you are. You can only see it if you've got eyeballs. Funny that. Because it's connected to your eyeballs. Every man is on a meridian. He will see his southern sun anywhere on this line here. We're going to get into that in a minute. Well, here we go. Okay, the sun is seen anywhere on the one merging magnetic field line. We have to have the two to create the sun. Look, coming out of the south, anywhere on that line, at that particular minute of the day, it's on that line. So depending on what latitude you're on, it's on that line. At the exact same time, it's on this line in the north, in the northern hemisphere. Anywhere on that line. The sun is in many places, but only seen in one. Man's own personal arc of horizon. And like I said in the last video, go check for yourself. What's the time in Taiwan in the northern hemisphere as opposed to the southern hemisphere, Newman, Western Australia? It's exactly the same time. What's here is the same time there. So you might see this image when you're on the plane flying around the flat earth. This is all daylight here, right? That's the sun. Opposite the full moon. The only time the full moon is dead center of this, night time, is when it's full moon. So full moon arrives, sundown arrives here as the night moves around, or the day moves around, because the day is going around and pushes the night, or the night, either one or the other. And that full moon will end up right in the middle of this nighttime zone when it's dead opposite the sun. That's that loop I was showing you, that loop. Okay? It reduces. And this loop over the season contracts right in, comes right in. You mightn't see it like that, but you know, it comes right in like this, right up as it's being slipped under the north. Okay, so this does not mean the moon is in here. It is only centralized in here at full moon, opposite the sun. As you come back here to the moon picture, the sun will be there, that loopy, and then the full moon's here, right? Well, we only start seeing the moon in the night half as it's coming back in here, but a bit more to that story too. You don't see the sun's during the day because it's close to the sun, because they're coming away together. As they come out of this new moon, they're coming away together sort of, but the sun is racing ahead. Anyway, the sun races right around here past the full moon, left it behind, and the actual sun, you know, laps the whole moon over 1 month, but not quite. And so does the sun lap all the stars over a season, over a year, but not quite. Because of that not quite lap, sets the precession. I've shown that many times in my videos. Okay? So, both positive repelling, creating the dielectric between them to create the electromagnetic. But realise it needs an earthing. And this is what comes up at the North Pole, out of the earth. We see this illumination in the auroras. Earthing is magnetism meeting the electromagnetism of the atmosphere or ether. Okay? So basically it's a mild case of where it's hitting, meeting the sun. So the two Milky Ways have got all the energy in them, all the power, bang, create the sun. But the pole coming up here, meeting the electromagnetic atmosphere and out in our realm here, it's not strong enough to create the sun, is it? It's just wafting up. So we'll see the auroras sort of coming up out of here. Okay? As they're coming up out of there, they're coming up out of here. Everything's a sort of mirrored effect. You only have to go south or go to the north and you find a centralized location of the auroras. You can't really get right below it, but you can see it coming out of a centralized location. But out around the south here you don't. You look far to the east or west and the auroras all the way around. That's a no-brainer. That's a telltale sign. Telltale sign. Telltale sign. Two of these. Telltale sign with your magnet. Your compass, I mean. It's all here, folks. Never been explained before. Now you know. So this is how... well, if I had another whiteboard, I'd go a bit deeper. But I haven't. Yeah, okay, that's all I've got on my mind at the moment. I could probably do another video, but check out video 1 and 2. There's a lot of information in the two previous videos I did regarding the last experiment, the final experiment to prove Earth is flat. Okay, understanding those three I've showed you: the compass, resets the two inner lemmas opposing each other. What was the other one? And just the two compasses, yeah, the two compass points, whatever, can't remember now. Okay, that's how it works. Comes out of that. So if you guys down here and you've got communications to someone in the north, get them to track the sun. Where's it coming from? Check where you are with your compass. You've got to try not to get confused with the northern hemisphere and the southern compass. So just bear in mind, if you do fall asleep, that your northern compass will have flipped. So when you wake up in the southern hemisphere, your compass is now pointing south. So this is when you want to pull out your southern hemisphere compass. And write on the compass is which one's your northern hemisphere compass and which is your right hemisphere compass, so you don't get confused. And all will be revealed, okay? All will be revealed. So this is just one image, one person's meridian from there to there. That's what I could have done in another video, is got the flat earth map out. And we'll have a look here. So there's New Zealand down here. So somewhere down here is where you'll be landing. So if you stick to this, take one of these maps, maybe a Gleason map. So follow this meridian arc of, longitude right up, and you'll find the same time up here, or get some alignment for your hours. It all lines up. All marries in with this a dual field here. The system here, okay? All marries in. All the ancients knew all about this because they understood this arrow, the bow here, the bow, and this is to do with the phoenix rising out of the ashes. You know, the ashes to do with the Milky Way, it's fire. You've got to understand the Milky Way that comes up from this magnetic induction, comes over and goes down here for the female end, and that's classed as the kneecap. That's the eye of Ra, because it's like a lens, an eye lens, and you get that sort of lensy look here too. It's all associated with that lens, the kneecap. Okay, so you've got the electromagnet, the male end. You got the female coming up here to meet the real actual plasma sun, and as it turns like a boomerang, because the Aborigines knew all about it, it's in their dream state, dream stories, as this whole Milky Way, how do I do it, turns, there's the sun, it turns like this over the day, doesn't it, shining out like this. That's your day and night. So some stories actually mentions the elbow, so elbow, kneecap, or the boomerang. See, it's curved. Okay. All this stuff was fully described on my Patreon if you're interested in more of this information. Did I read that one? The sun does not change in size. It is fixed on your arc of horizon. You cannot gain on your horizon or retreat from it. You are always 90 degrees to its zenith. A nice 180 degree arc. You're within that arc. Why do you think apps like Stellarium want to know your exact location? Because it's dependent on your zenith, that star, where you are at that time of the day to the minute. Then they'll give you all the pretty pictures of what everything looks like above where you are on the flat earth. Okay? Rotor and stator, same thing. Tropical gap. There's your two capacitor plates. All the energy is being created between them because the energy is built up here and built up here. Both opposing each other though. You've got to bring them together and separate them just enough to create all the energy between them. This is probably how they created the atom bomb, nuclear bomb or whatever. You have to detonate it before it hits the ground. So you got the copper windings on the steel plate or whatever. There's no charge there, there's no magnetic field. They send a charge to it by remote. Boom, to repel them instantly like this to 2 south. Boom! You put whatever chemicals in that vacuum chamber, what do you think is going to happen when the electric charge goes in there? Okay, well thanks for watching. If you're that way inclined to support me financially, just check out my Patreon page. Put a likes up and share this to everybody. Every flat earther needs to know all this information before they go to the Antarctic, because the flat earthers are only organising that to make them look like fools again. Just like they did with that other movie. What was it called? Beyond the Curve or whatever it was. Okay? So, and then go watch that movie, that video. Have a good laugh. This guy here. The way he's describing everything. Understand what I'm telling you, okay? Understand. And make these guys look like fools. They love making flat earthers look like fools. Because most people are simple-minded. They just go along with the herd, the flock.